Hey, everybody, and welcome to season 2 of the All About Everest podcast. And I'm your host, Pauline Reynolds Nuttall. On this podcast, you can get anything and everything about Mount Everest, including interviews, book recommendations, tips, updates, and a whole lot more. So welcome to the spring 2023 Everest climbing season. And here we go. Hey, everybody, and welcome to season 2, episode 2 of the All About Everest podcast. Just a couple updates, and then we'll get into today's topic, which is Everest documentaries for last year and some of the ones that are coming out in 2023. The spring 2023 Everest climbing season is right around the corner. People are going to be heading to base camp in the next couple of weeks towards the end of March, including the team of ice doctors that prepare the Khumbu Icefell for all of the climbers. As far as I know, Tibet remains closed. And after talking to multiple people, I believe that it will probably never reopen or in the near future. It's a political thing and also because of COVID. So I think the majority of the people that we're going to be climbing this year, in fact, all of them, unless China has a team or two like they did last year, it will all be from the south side. Mid-March, I'll start giving updates during each podcast episode. And around mid-March, we'll start seeing the number of permits that start coming out from Nepal. So before we get to the rest of the episode, I just wanted to share with you a little something about the Nomadic subscription box. It's a monthly outdoor subscription box starting as low as $29.99. And they have a monthly and a quarterly subscription. I've been subscribed since 2018, and it is one of the best things that I have found for all of my outdoor adventures. It's a way for me to find and try out new products and brands. January's theme was Cozy Up, and it included Bottle Bright bottle cleaning tablets, a minaret coffee mug, hand warmers, Salto Blend coffee, and Quick Survive fire starters. The Minaret coffee mug is one of my favorite all-time mugs, and you don't have to just purchase a box to get access to any of these products. You can also buy them directly from the website and also purchase past subscription boxes. The Nomadic has been really awesome, and they've given our listeners a 10% off coupon. Use the code Everest at checkout to get 10% off, and that's thenomadic.com. We'll have the links in the show notes. I also wanted to share that at the end of the month, I will have a Patreon account started. It's going to include extended interviews, video of those interviews, ad-free listening, discounts to the upcoming store, as well as a monthly Everest book club. So look forward to that in the next couple of weeks. In 2022, there were 4 Everest documentaries that came out. The first one was the digitally remastered version of the IMAX Everest documentary that first came out in 1998. They re-released it again in February of 2022. I wasn't able to see it in theaters because our local theater closed down because of COVID and has never really reopened. But it's one of the ones that most people who love Mount Everest have watched. It was filmed in 1996, a couple of days after the 1996 Everest disaster, which was the deadliest day and the deadliest season on Mount Everest at that time. 11 people died that day. The second documentary that came out in 2022 was Pasang in the Shadow of Everest, and that came out in March of 2022. I do not believe it has been released to the public, but it has been screened at festivals all over the world. I reached out to see if I could get a screener. I wasn't aware of this documentary until a couple of weeks ago, but I knew who Pasang Lamu Sherpa was. She was the first Nepali woman to summit Mount Everest on April 22nd, 1993. Unfortunately, she didn't make it down. The first Nepali woman to make it to the summit and come back down is Lakpa Sherpa, and she has 10 summits under her belt, and it looks like she's going to try for another one this year. A third documentary that came out in 2022 about Mount Everest was the 3-part docuseries on Netflix that came out in October of 2022. I thought it was a really good docuseries. Netflix kind of seems to have the market on the docuseries, especially when it comes to true life events and true crime. I watched all 3 of the episodes last weekend. I had started them in October, but then I got really busy and then I decided to rewatch them. They're really good. There's different perspectives. I personally think that some of the other ones that have been done about the 2015 Everest avalanche in Nepal are better, but that's just my personal opinion. It's very informative and it really shows you a lot of the raw footage, the stories of everything that happened. What shocked me, I guess, and I'd never heard this story before, was the 3 Israelis that had gotten caught stealing. I'm Israeli and I was so appalled by what had happened that it caught me off guard because, again, I'd never heard that story before. The other documentaries about the 2015 avalanche at Everest and in Nepal, there's the Smithsonian documentary that came out a couple years ago, Nightmare on Everest. The Everest avalanche tragedy on the Discovery Channel, and the BBC's Disaster on Everest. All 3 of them are really good. You should check them out if you haven't yet done so. The last documentary that came out last year, it premiered in September and was released in December, is called The Quest Nepal. And the creator and director, Alex Harz, he's going to be with us next week on the podcast. Such an amazing human being. He is a mountaineer and a creator. And there's 2 documentaries that he's done so far. There's the Quest Nepal and the Quest Everest that will be coming out sometime this year. You can find it on Apple TV, Google TV, Amazon, and it's also on DVD. But what I loved most about that documentary is it gives you a completely different perspective about Mount Everest, because you don't just get the mountain, you get the background as well. You get the culture. It's an amazing documentary. I highly recommend that you guys watch it if you haven't already. And next week, tune in because Alex and I are going to discuss it. It's absolutely beautiful. And I loved that he focused on the Nepali culture and history and not just Mount Everest, because it's not very often that filmmakers focus on that part of Nepal. It's, oh, Everest. Well, there's other things about Nepal that are beautiful as well. And it's part of the Everest story. It's part of the Everest experience that you're able to see everything that happens there, that you're able to feel the history, the religion, and really get a feel for the people. So for 2023, there are at least 5 documentaries that I'm aware of that are coming out this year. Some of them I have a little bit more information on than others, and some it's just speculation at this point if they're coming out this year. I should be getting more information as the release dates come closer. The first one that already came out, it premiered in December of 2022, but it actually was released to the public in January of this year, so just last month. It's called Drop Zone Everest, and it follows a group of US former military special operators, and they skydive into Mount Everest in honor of the brave women and men who lost their lives during Extortion 17. What Extortion 17 was is 30 American military servicemen were shot down in Afghanistan, and all 30 of them died. And so this is how their comrades are remembering them. Skydiving in general can be a little complicated. Skydiving over Mount Everest, it's a little bit more riskier because you have a lot of different factors than when you're just regularly skydiving. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but you can find it on Fight TV, which is FITE.TV, for free. So it's pretty awesome. I always love when I can watch documentaries for free without having to subscribe to a channel. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll keep you guys posted what I think after I have time to watch it this weekend. The next documentary that's coming out in 2023, and there is an actual release date, is Everest Dark, and it's being released on May 1st of 2023. As I said a little bit earlier, all of these documentaries have a completely different story. Many of you either know or have heard of Mingma Siri Sherpa, and this documentary follows him and his quest and his pursuit of bringing down deceased climbers from the mountain. He is a very devout Buddhist, and he's very spiritual, and he feels that climbing Mount Everest has made the goddess angry, that we are destroying Chomolungma. I've requested a screener. I hope I get it. When I have more information, including information on a trailer, I will share that. It's on my list to watch, and I'm not just saying that. I think that we forget the Nepali side of Mount Everest, and I've only heard good things about this man from some of my mountaineering friends. And so I can't wait for it to come out. The next documentary that's coming out in 2023, I hope they make it available all over the world. It's scheduled for Disney Plus UK, and it's called Finding Michael. I heard that the release date is going to be sometime in August. And essentially what it is that Nimsday, we all know who Nimsday is, and Spencer Matthews, who's a TV personality from England, they go searching on Mount Everest for Michael Matthews, Spencer's little brother, who in 1999 at the time became the youngest Briton to summit Mount Everest. But 3 hours after he reached the summit, he disappeared and his body has never been found. Now, there's a rumor that sometime in the last decade, Bear Grylls went on a secret mission to go find Michael Matthews and was unsuccessful. This is a documentary that I would love to watch. I'm a huge fan of Nim's Day. I enjoyed the 14 summits, and I follow him on Facebook. And Nims is just very blunt and honest, especially on his social media. He tells you how it is, but he's also a success story. He comes from very humble roots and he has done well. He also has this charisma about him, and we all saw that in 14 Peaks. And so I hope that we get to see that in this new documentary that's coming out sometime this year. There's hints that there are some extreme challenges and issues while they're on their expedition to find Michael Matthews, and we don't know if they found him or not. The next documentary that's coming out this year, I have very little information on. It's called Everest Legacy, or at least that was the working title. And it follows Sir Edmund Hillary's son, Peter, as well as Hillary's grandchildren, along with Tendi. And they're climbing Mount Everest in 2022. It's to highlight the changes on Mount Everest, but also 70 years since the mountain was summited by Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay in 1953. What I do know is Peter Hillary was at Everest last year, and that's all I know. So when I get more information, I will let you guys know. I'm excited for this one because it's going to bring that rich legacy that was left by the very first two people who summited Mount Everest, and everything that the mountain was then and everything that it is now. Last but not least, and I mentioned this at the very beginning of this podcast episode, is that Alex Harz has another documentary coming out sometime this year called Quest Everest. It's a companion piece, but it's also its own documentary, and it is about Mount Everest. Alex and I are going to talk about it a little bit during our interview, so you'll hear that next week, and then he's going to come back once it's released. I enjoyed the Quest Nepal so much that I'm looking forward to this one as well. And I know it's going to have its own unique perspective. I think that sometimes with mountaineering films across the board, it seems like it's the same story over and over, but it really isn't. And one of the things that I talk about with Jason Black during our interview is that how all of the mountaineers are different. They're special human beings, and all of them have a different story. All of them have a different reason for climbing Mount Everest. And Alex definitely has his own perspective when it comes to Nepal, when it comes to Mount Everest. And so look for those two interviews next week. If there are any documentaries that I missed in this list, please let me know so that I can add them. I'm hoping this weekend to get a full list together of all of the Everest documentaries and post it on my website, mamabearoutdoors.com. This episode's a little bit short, but it's intentional, and because my interview with Jason ran kind of long, and even with a little bit of editing, it's going to be longer than an hour. But it's definitely something that you guys do not want to miss. And I'll talk to you next week. Cheers. Thank you for listening to the All About Everest podcast. Please rate, subscribe, follow, and share. You can follow us on social media at All About Everest. And if you love what we do, you can even buy us a coffee. If you're interested in interviewing for us, please let us know, or even sharing your Everest story. Cheers!